All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Thursday afternoon matinee edition of KnicksFanTV Live, presented by SeatGeek. It is time, ladies and gentlemen. The 2024-25 regular season schedule has been released. We are going to rip the bow off this thing and react to it. And joining us on today's show is my guy, man. Does tremendous work for The Ringer. My guy, Kevin O'Connor. KOC is in the building, so lock in, hit the like button, hit the share button, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get right to it. This is a KnicksFanTV live simulcast on Facebook, Twitter, as well as Bleacher Report, man. So let's get right into it. All right, KO, man, it's an honor to have you back on, man. It's been a while, man.
It has been a minute, man. How you doing?
You know what? I feel like we have not really had much of a time off between the end of the regular season, the playoffs, the finals with Boston winning it, into the Olympics, Summer League, all of that. I feel like we're just rolling right continuously through the season, man, through the year.
I mean, it all blends together, right? Like you said, like Summer League goes into mid-July, then Olympic turnaround, and the Olympics were amazing this year. So I look, man, like I'm looking forward to the schedule being out, seeing the best games to look forward to in October and beyond, because really, it's once late September, early October hits, once it's training camp and you got players coming in the best shape of their life. And like for the Knicks, with a reshaped roster and the high expectations, it all just starts flowing again. Like just in really, 6-7 weeks, we'll be back at it.
Yeah, no question about it, man. So as our guys are coming in, all my franchise channel members in here, I see you guys. Before we get to the key dates, I want to remind you guys that today's episode is brought to you guys by SeatGeek, the #1 rated ticketing app out there right now. Shout out to our guys at SeatGeek. Over 28 million downloads. SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. They have over 70,000 events on their app, including concerts, sporting events, festivals, and more. And I'm very excited because obviously we know that the Knicks are going to be kicking off against the Indiana Pacers at the Garden on October 25th. And so I'm going to be on SeatGeek looking for the best seats. And when you guys go in the SeatGeek app, this is the interface here. You're going to look for the green dots, man. The green dots mean the best deals to be had. And so this is just a sample here. They don't have all the Knicks games up just yet, but they have, this is a Met game here. And you see all the green dots all around here at Citi Field, man. So there are great deals to be had. The green dots mean good. The red dots means not so great of a deal. So make sure that you guys are paying attention there. But the best thing is our guys at SeatGeek will have you guys covered. Use our code KFTV for 20% off. I mean, $20 off your tickets. $20 off your purchase by going to SeatGeek and using our code KFTV. So when you guys are going to get your Knicks tickets, wherever you guys at across the globe, KFTV, use our code KFTV for $20 off your purchase. All right, KO. So the Knicks are going to be kicking this thing off October 22nd. The opener that we all were looking for, at least Knicks fans, were Knicks versus Celtics, the battle for Eastern Conference supremacy. And what do you think, man?
I mean, what a barometer test. What a way to start off for really both teams. You got the Celtics effectively running it back, bringing back nearly everybody that won the championship last year. And for the Knicks side of things, it's a brand new roster. It's an enhanced roster, and you're going against the champs. And I think the way the Knicks have constructed this roster with OG Anunoby now, flanked by Mikal Bridges at the wing position, and the size and length they have, this is really the type of team that you're built to try to beat. Bringing a Josh Hart off the bench, having his energy to stop Jason Tatum, to stop Jaylen Brown with the length and versatility that Boston has. So I think for the Knicks, this is a perfect barometer test to kick off the season. And with those Villanova guys, the Nova Knicks, you'd expect there to be some instant chemistry.
Yeah, no question about it. On ring night, give this Knicks team something to kind of have that carrot hanging over them, something to look forward to and aspire to. And, I thought there was some talk this year, well, about the Knicks in terms of how they're building. Well, you shouldn't just be building for Boston. But, the way I saw that, the way that the Celtics team and Brad Stevens did a tremendous job in building that team, they were versatile on both ends of the floor. They had 5 guys offensively who could put the ball on the floor to varying degrees of skill sets. Defensively, they were locked in. I mean, to me, that is how in this modern NBA, you should be aspiring to build your team. It's not necessarily for one team, but I think it makes them competitive again across the league.
Absolutely agree with you. I mean, I think with the Celtics, look, I mean, for them, it's the type of thing where there's still a lot of doubt around them, even though they just won the championship, because they went through an Eastern Conference that was decimated by injury. So I think for Boston, it'll be interesting after these Olympics when Tatum barely played, Brown wasn't selected for the team. Meanwhile, Derek White and Drew Holiday are like nightly fixtures, the quote unquote role players. Will Boston be like will they come with like a prove it attitude despite already winning a championship, or are they going to prove to be a one-hit wonder? But regardless of what ends up happening with Boston, I'm with you. Like, the Knicks aren't doing this because, Boston won with length and versatility, so we have to do it too.
Right.
No, this is just the way the game is. It's best to have as much versatility as you possibly can, especially when you have a smaller point guard like Jalen Brunson. You want to protect him defensively. You want to give him elite spot-up shooters who can make plays off the dribble so Brunson can play off ball a little bit as well. They're building the way it makes sense to build a modern team, especially when you have Jalen Brunson as the face of the franchise right now.
Likewise. And for the Celtics, look, I mean, the Knicks will have a bit of injury question marks in terms of when will Julius Randle be ready? Will he be ready for opening night? Mitchell Robinson will be coming off of ankle surgery. Will he be ready? Jalen Brunson coming off of hand surgery. So, but for the Celtics, you got Kristaps Porzingis, who may not be ready until maybe the start of 2025. So, I mean, I think both of those teams are going to be coming in with potential question marks to start the season off.
For sure. And I think for Boston, obviously they go all the way during the postseason without KP playing all too much at all. But for the Knicks side of things, that is one of the negatives of this offseason, losing Isaiah Hartenstein with how important he was to the Knicks last year. Do you feel like the Knicks have enough bigs? Is that like the area of weakness where they still need to, by February deadline, make a move somewhere there?
That's one of the big question marks going into training camp, right? Because yes, you do have Mitchell Robinson, and again, you hope that he can start the year off healthy and continue healthy and get to April, May, and beyond, which is going to be most important. And so behind him, I did think that the Precious Achiuwa pickup was big in terms of, Precious, he's not going to be your typical 5 that they're going to put up against Joel Embiid and when the Joker comes to town, but he does provide some versatility in the front court where he does become switchable out there on the perimeter against certain guys. Last year we saw him trying to keep up with Pascal Siakam and more of those more versatile wings, and so I think he will help there. There is a concern, but I think it makes it even more intriguing in terms of how do they utilize a smaller defensive lineup? Do they go with OG guarding more 5? Because I don't think it's going to be Randle guarding 5s. I think it'll be OG guarding 5s, like how we saw him going up against Joel Embiid in the playoffs, game 4 of that Philly series. And I think when you have Bridges there, you have OG. When you have those stout wing defenders, I think they could pose some advantages playing small with those guys.
I think you're spot on there, and that's why with the Knicks, like it's almost like you said with Mitchell Robinson, it's a matter of just health, right?
Yeah,
I think with Mitchell Robinson and with Julius Randle, obviously it's up and down production as well with him. He's had 2 All-NBA seasons. The highs are pretty high, and the lows that we've seen with the postseason have been pretty low at times. But if Randle can be good and if Mitchell Robinson can be healthy, they have all that front court versatility. Like you're nailing it with Achiuwa, OG Anunoby, and with Randle too. I mean, if you put Randle at the 5 in certain situations, even if it's OG as your quote unquote 5 and Randle as your 4, they have the ability to play different styles. And to me, like if the Knicks at full strength are one of the few teams, a handful of teams in the league that can they can dictate the way they want the other team to play.
Yeah.
Like they can match up against a smaller ball team. They can decide we want to play fast and small, or they can play with Randall and Mitchell Robinson and have two bigs up there who are vacuuming rebounds. Like they can go against Mobley and Allen with Cleveland. They can go against just Bam out there with Miami. They can go against just Draymond out there with the Warriors. And I think that's what's really exciting with this Knicks team. And that's because of all the length of the wing spot.
I think Hartenstein was a big loss, and the Knicks are going to see him return to Madison Square Garden with the Oklahoma City Thunder on January the 10th. I felt like it was a big loss. There was some of the fan base that disagreed with me. I thought his loss was tremendous because I love the way that he played and gelled, especially offensively, and as well as the defensive improvements that he made. I think they're going to take this as a wait and see. Right. One of the things that I've appreciated the Knicks for over the years is their ability to maintain roster flexibility, both financially and with their draft capital. And I think this could be a wait and see. Let's see how Mitch goes through the season. How do they hold up defensively? How is their rim protection? And then if they need to make a move by the deadline, do they go and try to go get a Valanciunas or get somebody, is a Capella a guy that becomes available depending on how the Hawks look at the deadline? I think they'll have the versatility to be able to make that adjustment mid-season. And so even though I think the center position is a question mark, I don't think it will, handicap them going throughout the whole season.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, it'll be, 50 games or so by the deadline in February. It's a large chunk of the season, but I mean, the beginning of the year, to me, I look at it as so much of just like figuring out who you are. And, the in-season tournament, or rather now we're officially calling it the NBA Cup.
Yeah.
The NBA Cup, it gives meaning to the early regular season. But from a big picture perspective, I think for the Knicks, it's figuring out what do we need? What can we improve on? Because even though they gave up so much for Mikal Bridges, they still have, a couple of picks left. Yeah. Like they have a heavily protected picks from the Pistons and Wizards. But they're Pistons and Wizards picks nonetheless. That at some point could be mid-first, when they become unprotected down the line.
CP the Franchise, Kevin O'Connor here on the ones and twos. Knicks schedule release. We are reacting to the key dates. Salute to everybody watching on YouTube, Facebook. My guys on Bleacher Report, salute. And Wilson says Knicks in 5. So J Mart 419 says Knicks in 2. 82-0 season. Matthew Villegas, salute to Matthew on the Bleacher Report. Ben Cieto says print the championship hats. All right, so the Knicks fans are optimistic. We're ready to go. And what another way to keep this thing going than the home opener, revenge night against Halliburton and Siakam and the Pacers. Pacers coming to town, man. Friday, October 25th, and ESPN Gabe. What's your thoughts on that matchup, man?
I mean, NBA schedulers did a damn good job putting this together. That is the home opener. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I think with the Pacers, it'll be very interesting to see the way they look because they have a lot of young guys on their roster. They were missing Ben Mathurin to close the season. Will Jarris Walker be playing early in the year for them? Will Ben Shepherd replicate what he did during the postseason when he was really good after a pretty underwhelming, forgettable rookie regular season for him? And obviously, like with Halliburton, is he able to get back to what he was at the beginning of last season, the first half of last season, or is he going to still be that up and down, inconsistent, not clearly an all-star point guard that he was to close the year? So I think that's what I'm looking forward to from the Pacer side of things. And I think the Knicks match up very nicely with them after all their changes this summer.
Yeah, the team that bounced the Knicks out in a disappointing Game 7 in the second round last year. So I'm looking forward to seeing the Knicks go out there and really try to run those guys at the gym. It's going to be a very interesting matchup. But, with the addition of Bridges, you get a healthy Anunoby there. We'll see where Randall is at that point. I do like the Knicks in this game. But, look, make no mistake. I thought the Pacers were formidable last year. I thought they did mount, an impressive run there in that playoffs. And I thought their offense was very impressive, especially when in the ways that they were able to run through Siakam there. So, but with the addition of the Knicks' wing presence defensively, I think they'll have enough to slow them down. And you're right. You're bringing in Mathurin now fresh, Jarris Walker. They did re-sign Nebhard to his deal. So it's going to be a young Pacer team that's going to be looking to, not just be hovering around that playing spot, but to be a legit Eastern Conference, top 5, 6 type of team. Did we lose KO?
Can't hear you, CP.
Oh,
Don't know if it's just me.
I got you now. It said you were reconnecting audio. You good now?
Don't know if that's just me, but I can't hear you, CP.
Check what? Oh man, I thought we had this thing fixed. Hang on 1 second. Salute to everybody in the chat. I'm gonna get KO back on. I thought we got this fixed. KO, can you hear me now? All right, hang on 1 sec. Hang on. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up on Free Boys. Not sure what happened here. I thought we had this this Zoom situation fixed. I'm gonna get KO back in here. It could have been an issue on his end. Let me get KO back in here. Salute to everybody in the chat, man. CP the franchise here. Schedule release. Like we said, man, Knicks open up against the Boston Celtics on October 22nd, and then they will return at home against the Indiana Pacers. So we have that so far. I'm gonna get Kevin O'Connor back in here. Let's get him back in here. Make sure his audio is good. Sent him the new link, and away we go. Okay. Let me check in on the first 10 is pretty formidable, man. You have at Boston, home against Indiana, home against Cleveland, and then you have a 4-game road trip at Miami, at Detroit, at Houston, at Atlanta, home against Milwaukee, at Indiana, and then at Philly. So in your first 10 games, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the first 10 on the road. So that's a tough one, guys. That's definitely a tough one. We gotta look at this thing, man. You have, let me get Kevin back in here. You have at Miami, Detroit should be an easy one. At Houston, at Atlanta, home against the Milwaukee Bucks, at Indy, and then at Philly. So that's your first 10. That's a national TV game there at Philly. Kev, can you hear me now?
I got you.
Okay. All right. Not sure what happened
doing,
there,
man?
but let's get you back in here. Let's get you back in here. Salute to everybody in the chat. All right, here we go. So I was just going through the first 10, and they got a tough one in the first 10, man. They have the first 7 out of 10, rather, is on the road. Start off at Boston. You're at Miami, October 30th. At Detroit, November 1st. At Houston, November 4th. At Atlanta, November 6th. Then you're home against Milwaukee. Then at Indiana, at Philly.
It's a lot of away games to start the year.
Yeah, that's the first tough 10, man.
Yeah, that's a really tough starting out on the road like that. And I mean, look, that could be a good thing for them, though. Sometimes that's where kind of camaraderie and chemistry is built even more. So you have a team going in with familiarity with each other with so many of the key players. Maybe it's a good thing to be on the road that much early on. Then you're rewarded with a long homestand for like a week in the middle of November before another long road trip. I mean, that's kind of a crazy back and forth schedule that they have early on. A big road trip, then a big homestand.
Yeah.
And then you're leading right up to the NBA Cup.
Right up to the Cup.
Crazy.
Yeah. And so that next road trip will be, as you said, November 20th. This will be the first West Coast trip. November 20th at Phoenix, at Utah, at Denver, at Dallas, the reigning Western Conference champions. And then you will have your second NBA Cup game, which will be Black Friday at Charlotte. 12 p.m. game on Friday. 12 p.m. game, which will be Black Friday. What do you think about that West Coast trip? At Phoenix, and you have at Utah, Denver, Dallas.
I mean, that's tough, man. Except Utah. Obviously, they stink. But but the West, I mean, I think like there's probably 8+ teams that you can make an argument. There's fewer teams that like have a real shot, but you can make an argument for Phoenix, Denver, and Dallas each having a chance to represent the West in the finals. So I think for the Knicks, this early season schedule in general, even that single home game that they have earlier in November at home versus Milwaukee. How will they look? Are they going to change the system? You had rumors this summer about Brook Lopez. You know, did Doc want to trade him and play more of a progressive style? They tried that last year with Adrian Griffin. Did not work. But the NBA is tough, man. Like, there's not many teams that are trying to suck. And I think, like you said, a commentator said earlier, 82-0. The Knicks might end up being the best in the East, but if you're winning like 60 plus games this year, like Boston did last season, like that might actually mean you're pretty special because I think the league is even better. There's even fewer teams trying to tank right now. And maybe that changes by February, but like
Yeah.
there's not a lot of easy outs at all
Yeah.
when you look up and down the schedule.
Do you think, does Phoenix get their act together with that big three? Yeah, Budenholzer coming in there. They did make, I did think they're one of those teams that were able to do more with less, especially with it being a second apron team and how they built that team and trying to get some more depth in there or better complementary pieces, rather. Do you think they can get their act together?
Yeah, I think they did a good job this summer. I mean, I think, like you said, they did a little bit with nothing really at all. And I thought the Tyus Jones acquisition that they made, I think it's one of the more underrated signings of the summer. He ended up going there because he was promised an opportunity to start for the Suns. He got offered more money from other teams, but he would have had to continue being a sixth man like he was for years with the Grizzlies and then with the Wizards. But I think you add a piece like that among the wings they added. Phoenix looks like a team that makes a hell of a lot more sense than it did last year. Last year when it was really lacking depth. So I'm kind of bullish on what the Suns can be. By no means do I think they're the favorite, but I do really like what they did this offseason, and a lot of it's gonna, like with the Knicks, come down to like what does their center position look like? Because Yusuf Nurkic has lost some weight this summer. He says he's going to try to start shooting threes. How does he hold up defensively, or is he just an 82 season guy, 82 game guy, not a 16 game player, as Draymond has always said about playoff versus season performance? But I like the Suns and what they did this summer, and I look forward to seeing them.
Likewise. Now, the second West Coast trip they will take is in 2025, starting March 6th. You have the LA doubleheader at Lakers Thursday, at Clippers Friday. We were talking offline, man. That might have to be the next meetup. We got to take the road trip out west, man. So you got to come link up with us out there, man, for sure.
I know that's a good little set of games right there. Thursday, Friday, Thursday game against the Lakers on TNT. Then the new Clippers Arena on Friday. Knicks fans could invade the wall. With like go in wearing Clippers gear and pull it off during the game, revealing Knicks gear. Maybe you get thrown out. I don't know what the rules are going to be. So some Lakers fan is going to try that, and we're going to find out. Are they going to like toss you out and ban you for life?
I think Bomber's going to have a zero tolerance policy, man. It's either you with us or you're out of there, man, at the wall. So yeah,
exactly.
That's going to be interesting.
Knicks fans getting charged triple for a ticket. Isn't anywhere. What's it going to be? I don't know.
It's going to be crazy, man. There. Yeah, so you have Lakers, then Clippers back to back, then at Sacramento, at Portland, and then at Golden State. So that's a little interesting one in that kind of like the third, fourth quarter of the season, if you will, for the West Coast trip. So we have that there. National TV games, let's see how many we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then on this side, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. So including the NBA TV games, that's about 35.
That's a lot.
National TV games.
And rightfully so.
Yeah. Yeah, so NBA showing the Knicks some love there on the national TV side. Not bad.
The league's better when the Knicks are good. I like when the Knicks are good. You know, I've never been to Madison Square Garden when the Knicks were good. I've only been when the Knicks were bad. And the atmosphere was still awesome. Like there was still a buzz in the crowd. I got to get to New York this year and go to like one of those really good games that like people wake up excited to go to, because I want to know what it feels like to go to MSG for one of those games.
You got to pull up on us. I would say that home opener against Indiana on a Friday night, that place is gonna be on fire, man. That is gonna be the game. If it's not a playoff game, that Friday night against the Pacers at home, the team that got them out of there, that blew us out and embarrassed us at Madison Square Garden in Game 7. Knicks fans are going to have their ears pinned back, ready to go on that Friday night. And then if it's not that, then you got to come playoff time, man. Got to come playoff
exactly.
time.
I mean, I got to, or maybe like if I can't make it out early season, maybe like I see Boston February 8th, a Saturday game. That could be an intense one on ABC national TV.
Yeah.
But that Friday game, That's going to be vicious.
Yeah.
That's going to be so fun.
Christmas Day, you have Wemby coming to town. This was interesting. I thought they would have went with like Knicks Philly or maybe Knicks Milwaukee as they have a few times in the past. But you got Wemby coming into town. What do you think about sophomore Wemby coming into town with Chris Paul now as his floor general? They got Stephon Castle in the draft. What do you think about Wemby year 2, man?
I mean, I think he's going to average like 27, 12, and 6 and 5 and 3.
Yeah.
I think he's going to put up absurd numbers. I think he should have been all NBA last year. I believe he will be pretty easily this year. I would expect by the end of the season that we'll be talking about him as one of the clear-cut 5 best players in basketball, and I don't think that's an exaggeration. His rate of improvement year after year is so massive. And the quote he had after France lost in the gold medal game to Team USA about how, I worry for my future opponents.
I say,
I think that's like I think he knows how special he is because he's felt and experienced the improvement year after year. And I think by Christmas, he'll be better than he is than in October. I think by February at the deadline, we'll see what the Spurs end up doing. But it won't surprise me either way if the Spurs end up buyers or sellers. But so that's why it's a good thing that the Knicks are seeing them, or at least from an entertainment standpoint, it's a good thing the Knicks are seeing them Christmas Day because the Spurs might very well refurbish Chris Paul's value and be able to flip him.
Yeah.
Or the Spurs could be so good where they're like a top 8 seed, like that Christmas Day game is super competitive, and they're like, maybe we should be buyers and take advantage of, having Victor on a rookie contract. So that's an exciting. I'm glad the NBA scheduled the Spurs on Christmas Day, especially against the Knicks. Put them on the national stage against one of the most popular teams on earth and one of the best teams in the league. I think NBA is very, very smart to do that.
Yeah, that was a good one there. I did like that booking. You have the MLK matchup, which will be at home January 20th against the Atlanta Hawks. That will be at 3 p.m. And then you have the NBA Cup, sponsored by Emirates. The NBA Cup, man, starts on, the knockout rounds will start on December 10th. But for the Knicks, they will be at Philadelphia, November 12th. That'll be a TNT game. Then you'll have the Black Friday game, 12 o'clock on NBA TV at Charlotte. Then they will be home against Orlando on December 3rd. And then... Is that it? They should have
November 15th against the Nets.
There we go. November 15th against the Nets. So, what do you think about that group bracket that they have?
Those they should win 3 of those. I would think. Like you should beat the Nets easily. They're one of the worst teams in the league. You should beat the Hornets. They still stink.
Yeah.
And then Sixers and Magic. You should win at least one of those. I would expect. Right, and maybe both of them. So Knicks could easily go 4-0 in those rounds, and then head to the knockout rounds on the in mid-December. But we'll see, man. I'll tell you what: if the Knicks do make it to the final rounds in Vegas, those are fun, man. I was in Vegas last year for those, and had a great time.
How was the vibe there, man? How was the vibe during the first annual Cup?
Yeah, I mean, I think this year will be even better. It'll get better year after year, I believe.
Yeah, I hope so. I do hope so. I did like it. I did like the concept. A lot of fans were like, "Oh, this is a waste of time. This is trash." I was one of those in the onset, but as it kind of progressed throughout the season, I was kind of into it. Like, the Knicks had one of their best games of the year last year in an NBA Cup game against the Miami Heat when they came back. I was at that game, matter of fact, when they came back and beat them. They had the other game against the Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee, so they had a tough one last year. But hopefully this year, hey, you never know, they could be hoisting up the cup in Vegas.
It's better than what we had. The early regular season has never had any significant meaning in terms of the big picture of the entire year of defining what the season is. And at the least, it gives some structure to the first 3 months of the year when most casual fans are focused on football at the time. And at least now it's something interesting that spices things up, and hopefully over time, I hope over time, like the early season quote unquote best team is given some meaning. I think it'll take years, maybe even decades, but over the course of time, I look forward to the day that we have a team that wins the NBA Cup, that gets the best regular season record, and wins the finals. Like, to me, when a team does that and they are dominant from start to finish, they're the team that wins like the first quote unquote NBA triple crown,
Yeah, that'd be
best
interesting.
record, NBA Cup, and then the Larry O'Brien, right?
Yeah,
And like if it goes 12 years, 20 years, 30 years without a team doing that again, suddenly I think it increases the meaning even more
yeah.
when you have a truly dominant team that really sets the bar high like that. So I hope we see a team do it this year or sooner than later because I'm a fan of it. Single elimination is damn fun,
Yeah,
dude. We
yeah.
just watched the Olympics.
Yeah, that's true. That is true, man. And so, looking forward to that one, man. CP the franchise, Kevin O'Connor on the other side, man. Salute to everybody in the chat, wherever you guys are watching from. Share this video. Do us a favor. Hit the share button wherever you guys are watching. And once again, this is a Knicks Fan TV, YouTube, Bleach Report, Facebook, and Twitter X simulcast. All right, so let's get into a couple of predictions here before you go. You know, we talk about a lot of the competitors for the Knicks in the East. Obviously, it's Boston. They reign supreme. Philadelphia made a lot of moves with Paul George and having Embiid and re-signing Maxey. I thought the Caleb Martin pickup, they added a lot of wing depth. Wing depth was the name of the game, the theme for this offseason for the Knicks as well as the Sixers. Who is there a sleeper team in the East that you like this year?
I think the Heat. I think the Heat are being a little bit overlooked after they underwhelmed last year, and Butler gets hurt and they lose in the first round. But Bam has gotten better over the last month of last season. He shot over 40% from three. He carried that over into the Olympics with shooting more threes. They drafted Khalil Ware from Indiana, a
Very
sophomore
impressive.
center. He's a big who can protect the rim. He can shoot threes. He could be this year's Derek Lively. And Jimmy Butler, allegedly, seems like this will be the year he starts trying during the regular season. So
Yeah.
if Khalil Ware is good, and if Bam Adebayo continues ascending, and if Jimmy Butler is having one of his better regular seasons, and it positions the Heat to be a top 4, top 5 seed in the East, to me, I still think they're one of those teams. In addition to the fact they still retain trade assets to make a move, they could be a team that people are overlooking when everybody's looking at all the teams that made the big acquisitions, Sixers and Knicks, and then the champion Celtics. I think the Heat are the team that suddenly have become a bit overlooked.
Can never sleep on Riley, on Spo, Jaime Jaquez kind of being that
Year two.
that surprise year two. Khalil Ware really emerging in summer league, had an impressive summer league as well. So yeah, you could be right on that for sure, man. How about Orlando? Did you like the pickup with KCP? Do you think that helps them take another year up in their maturity and where they're trying to go with Paolo and Jamal Mosley at the helm?
Yeah, I think it helps. I mean, I don't think they're a championship contender. I
Yeah, yeah,
still think they need years of development. Paolo's not there yet. Franz is not there yet, but the
yeah.
Magic should take a step forward. But I think like you look at some of the odds makers that have the Magic as like a greater threat than the Heat. I think it's absurd. Like I think the Heat, the what they've proven, they're ahead of the Magic in terms of what they could be this coming season. But the Magic long term, of course, have a significant upside, especially once Banchero ends up reaching his prime.
The Knicks win total has gone up tremendously with Vegas. What do you think, man? What's your win prediction for the Knicks?
What was their over under?
So
Knicks over under for wins.
it's got to be close to 50 plus. Let me just double check
I gotta
again.
see 52 and a half is what I'm seeing right now.
52 and a half.
Woo!
52 and a half.
I think I'd take a
That's
slight over for the Knicks. A
okay.
slight over. They feel like they're gonna be. They have like everything I just said about the Heat. Like if Jimmy Butler's trying during the regular season, the Knicks are one of those teams. Like their energy and their camaraderie. I don't think there's any doubts that they're going to be one of the most energetic, entertaining, competitive on a nightly basis regular season teams, and that will carry them very well in terms of seeding in the East. How many wins they end up getting. So they feel like a good over team to me.
Yeah.
Like maybe 54, 55 wins, something like that.
Yeah.
I think seems very realistic for the Knicks.
I'm going over as well. Do you think they have enough to beat Boston? Can they
Yeah, I
make
do.
can they make it?
Yeah.
Can they make it
Yeah,
to
I
the
do.
dance at the end of the day?
I do think the Knicks can beat Boston. I don't think Boston is some juggernaut. I still don't think that way after they won the finals. I believe they are the favorite in the East. They deserve to be the favorite in the East, and they very well could end up better if Tatum and Brown continue ascending, and if some of their young guys, part of that rotation, continue getting better. If Porzingis stays healthy in the postseason, Boston could get even better. But I don't think they're some juggernaut by any means.
That's
I
what
think
I
the
said.
Knicks have the pieces to beat them in a 7-game playoff series. I think the Sixers do as well on the Bucks. They in their own way are overlooked too,
Yeah,
considering all
yeah.
the injuries they had to close last year, and they still have Giannis, one of the 2 or 3 best players in basketball, and we'll see how they look with year 2 Damian Lillard with Giannis. Will their chemistry take a step forward? Will Chris Middleton stay healthy? So I think the Knicks, the Bucks, the Sixers, I think them in addition to the Celtics are the teams that I think have a real shot to make and win the finals, representing the East. I mean, I don't think Cleveland is not there yet. I don't believe
No.
Orlando's not there yet. The Heat, they're the kind of that, I think, sleeper in my eyes. But some of those other teams need to make a move or prove a lot more.
Inside of me, please, on Bleacher Report says our boy KOC. All right, so you just instantly once again became a fan favorite on KnicksFanTV, man. So that means we're gonna have to have you back on several more times throughout the season, because Knicks fans are loving that prediction. They're with you. They're in line with that win prediction, and I'm with you, man. I love what Boston did last year. They deserve their respect. I just don't see a juggernaut that no one can topple there.
Yeah, I mean, look, dude, 64 wins. They roll through the weak Eastern Conference, injury depleted Eastern Conference in the playoffs,
Yeah.
and they beat the Mavs. Like, they are the rightful champions. They had a sensational season. But to me, like, if I'm a Celtics player, I'm looking at this as like a prove it year still. Like, you still doubt us?
Yeah.
Like, even after all that, you're still doubting us, everything we've been through? But I mean, I just don't think they're a juggernaut. That's just the way I feel. I think they are a beatable, favorite in the East, and the Knicks are one of those teams. After winning 50 games last year, they should be significantly better this year. The Knicks very well could be the team that ends up the top seed in the Eastern Conference. Does that mean they're the best team, they're the favorite? No, but I think they could end up with the top seed in the East.
Who's your non-Brunson X factor here? Is it Randle? Who do you think?
Yeah, I think it is Randle. I think it's Randle for the reasons we touched on earlier. He's an all-NBA guy twice, right? Like, I've always been, since before the draft when he was at Kentucky, as early in his career with the Lakers, I've always been a Randle doubter. But he turned into a special player those 2 seasons with the Knicks where he reached an all-NBA level. He's had special stretches and special moments, but can he actually translate that to the postseason? Can he reach the level that he needs to? How does he adapt with being surrounded by a bunch of other guys that, should be getting touches, should be getting shots? Is he able to elevate his play defensively and conform to what will be this amazing, I think, chemistry that this team has? And if he does that, that really will level up the Knicks in ways that maybe like even a lot of Knicks fans might be underrating, because 1 to 5, Robinson, Randle, OG, Bridges, Brunson, like, there's no holes there with that team. There's none at all when they're healthy, and if they're playing at an optimal level with Hart and DiVincenzo off the bench, Achua. I mean, like, it's a deep team. It's a team with stars at the top. It feels like one of those on paper perfectly constructed rosters. And I don't know. I'm very excited to see what they do. And plus, they have the chemistry aspect, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that can be underrated. That's one thing Boston had. It was a locker room full of guys who loved each other and rooted for each other. They managed to, really crawl their way out where the prior year, like, they were bickering at each other. That kind of brought them closer. This Knicks team is going to be a great high-level A+ chemistry team, and I think that matters. I really do.
Yeah, well, likewise, man. Likewise. Well said. And how about out west? A lot of people loved. I thought the Knicks had the best offseason. Some people say OKC. They did pick up Caruso. I thought that was a tremendous move for them. And then they picked up my guy, iHeart. Is that enough for them to make it to the top?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the Thunder. I think the Thunder should be that favorite in the West right now. We'll see with Denver after some of their losses, but I think Denver losing Bruce Brown last summer, losing KCP this summer, they're young guys that they drafted last year. those are the guys that are going to have to step up. And Michael Malone, their head coach, did not play them a lot. So I think ultimately OKC is one of those teams where, again, like they don't really have many holes. Their biggest weakness last year was size and rebounding.
Yeah.
I think still with them, their weakness could be like size and length at the wing position. Like that, like I think like we talked about the Knicks with what they added with you get OG coming back, you get Mikal Bridges, you got Hart off the bench, you have so much size, length, and versatility. The Thunder still are a bit lean there, so that's really the only existing hole. But I mean, no team is perfectly constructed in the league, none. So I think you're really nitpicking when you look at that. They solved the rebounding issue with Hart and Steen, and Chet should come back even better as well. So I'd say the Thunder for now would be my favorite in the West, but we'll see how I feel about that like on opening night.
Well, you spoke about the Nuggets and Mike Malone. When I look at them, especially on their bench, I feel like you're going to need exceptional play from Strawther, Christian Brown stepping in to the starting lineup. Strawther, who's the other guy I liked? Peyton Watson.
I mean, Peyton Watson, yeah.
I mean,
really
those
good.
guys are going to have to step up for them to have a chance.
Yeah. And then yeah. I mean, they signed Russell Westbrook, and there's going to be nights where Russell Westbrook has a very high level performance, and he's going to the basket, and Nuggets fans are going crazy. But then there's going to be nights where Jokic is getting double teamed and he's kicking it out, and Russ has nobody on him, and he's bricking it off the side of the backboard.
Yeah.
And there's going to be nights where he's driving into 3 defenders in the paint, and he's hucking up, a brick off the back of the backboard because his at-rim finishing has degraded significantly since he was in his prime with OKC, or even since a couple years ago. So I think for Denver, you lose Bruce Brown last year, you lose KCP this year, and your replacement is Russell Westbrook.
I don't know.
Man,
I don't know.
And also like their draft pick in the first round gets hurt first game of summer league.
Yeah, Deron Holmes.
And he was supposed to play for them. He was an important piece. He was going to be part of their rotation. Yeah. So I think for Denver, it's very possible they ended up. I mean, like they wanted to build something sustainable. It's very possible they end up one of those kind of one-hit wonder teams.
Yeah.
If those rookies, second-year guys don't take a leap, that's most important above all else.
True indeed, man. True indeed. Well, KO, definitely appreciate the time, man. Great show. We're booking those fights to LA, man. We're making LA happen, man. So next time you see me, we'll be probably in that March doubleheader, man. Lakers, Clippers, Staples Center, Crypto, Intuit Dome. I'll be on the wall. I'll see if I can sneak in, see what the deal is, man. But thanks again for the time, man. Appreciate it, man. What are you working on? What do you got on the burner with the Ringer?
I lost you again, CP, but I would say I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for joining me and for having me on today, dude. Really means a lot. Appreciate you doing this. We'll do this again during the regular season at some point. I look forward to it, dude.
There we go, man. All right, guys. That was my guy, Kevin O'Connor, checking in. Listen, we wrapped up at the right time. I had the Zoom issue fixed for a little while, and it's come back. But you know what? Technical issues, sometimes they happen. We'll look into it, and we'll get that fixed. Salute to our guys at Bleacher Report, man. We're going to stay here on the KnicksFanTV side. For my guys on Bleacher Report, you can join us, youtube.com/KnicksFanTV. You can definitely join us and tap in. And for our guys on YouTube, call us up on the Discord, man. Let us know what you guys think about the Knicks schedule release. I'm going to go over those key dates once again. But again, thanks to our guy, Kevin O'Connor, for joining us. Always a great guest with us, man. Always a great analyst and providing good insight to the show. So shout out to our guy, KOC, man. All right, let me go ahead and get this thing set up here, and we'll get right to it. Yeah, sometimes those technical difficulties happen, man. I don't know what's happening with Zoom. These guys are failing to make me great here. Come on, man. Come on. All right, so to my franchise channel members in here, I see a lot of people have joined up on the franchise channel members. So salute to James Bagland. I see you just joined the franchise channel memberships. So salute to you. D-Roy Bramrell, I just got your purchase. D-Roy just purchased a KFTV snap. So make sure you guys are getting your gear before the start of the season for sure. Especially for the home opener. You guys are going to be at the Garden. I will definitely be there. And so, yeah, man, we are getting right to it. And it feels like the season really never ended, man. It feels like the season never ended. So, but very much looking forward to the season coming up, because before you know it, it's going to be right here. Before you know it, it is going to be right here. Okay. All right, let me get the phone lines up. The phones aren't working right now, but the Discord is working. So if you guys want to call up with your thoughts on the schedule, hit us up on the Discord. One thing for sure, man, with this schedule is that it's tough early. I felt like it was a similar situation last year too, though, man. I really do. But, you know, the first 7 or 10 on the road, man, sheesh. They really want to make us earn this thing, guys. We got to earn this thing. You know what I mean? Let me get that back out here on the Jumbotron here. The first 7 out of 10 games, you got at Boston to kick the season off. Banner raising. Home against Indiana. Home against Cleveland. All right? Then at Miami. At Detroit, that should be a layup. At Houston, at Atlanta, that should be a layup. Home against Milwaukee, then at Indy, and then at Philly to start it off. So that first 10, I mean, let's go through some predictions here. I'm going with a banner night upset. Yeah, you're going to get your rings and all of that, the white jackets, all of that. Knicks are winning that game. I'm going with a Knicks win. A Brunson burner 40 piece. Home against the Pacers, I'm going with another W. That's 2 right there. Home against Cleveland, I'm going with that one. 3-0 to start the season off. Now you got to travel to Miami. I'll go to L there. They always give us problems. I'll go to L there at Miami on Wednesday night. At Detroit, give me a W. Give me a W there. So I'm going 4-1 through the first 5. At Houston, might be a letdown game. 4-2. We got to be realistic. We can't play 2K on this thing, man, and go undefeated. At Atlanta, that we always play there. That's home for us. That's another dub. So we're going 5-2 through the first 7. Home against the Bucks. Give me a win. Give me a win. 6-2 through 8. At Indy, I think they get a little revenge. Maybe a little Halliburton game winning that part. You know, one of those. So I'll go 6-3 through 9. And then at Philly, I think a close loss. I go 6-4 through 10. 6-4 through 10. What do you guys think, man? I'll be a little fair with it. First 10 are going to be tough, man. This guy, people in the chat said 8-0. 8-0. What do you guys think? I'll go 6-4. You know what I'm saying? Let me leave me some comments in the chat. Let me go know what you guys think. That's a tough sketch. It's a tough stretch, man. Nostalgic Knicks has great projection. Seven and 3. Yeah, I mean, is that the hardest schedule through the first 10 of the league? All right, 7X, the letter publishing is with me. Okay. You know, as you guys know, man, we can't go with the homer stuff, man. We got to be realistic. Hopefully they surpass the expectations. And there you go, man. Remember to salute our sponsors at SeatGeek, guys. When you guys are looking for your tickets, use our code at SeatGeek KFTV for $20 off, man. Great deal. Especially opening night. You know, home opener, you know Jimmy D's going to want his money. So use our code KFTV for $20 off. Side Eye says, CP, why you got us beating the defending champs in the ring ceremony? You think we lose to the Heat? That's how the NBA season works. It's any given Sunday league. I think we'll play spoiler on opening night. Miami could be tough. They always play us tough, man. Matchups. This is tough matchup. All right, so you have the Boston home opener on the road. The Boston road opener on Tuesday, October 22nd. That's a TNT game. Home against Indiana. That's the Friday, October 25th on ESPN. Then you have a 4-game road trip after Cleveland, after home against Cleveland. You have a 4-game road trip at Miami, at Detroit, at Houston, at Atlanta. Home against Milwaukee, and then at Indiana, and then at Philly, which is the Philly game is a in-season tournament game, NBA Cup game on TNT. As we discussed here, the Knicks have about 35 national TV games. All right, so the league is definitely loving it. Loving the Knicks here. Roughly 35 if you're going to count NBA TV. So we're going to be there. We are going to be there. All right, let's see what else we got here. Let's go to NBA PR, see what they got. Or Knicks PR usually has, they usually have that breakdown in the format. No, they don't have anything. They didn't put anything out. Okay, so never mind that. Side Eye says, yeah, you're right. No. Two lifted. NBC, that TV is next year. The new NBA TV deal starts next year with NBA on NBC. All of that starts next year. So, the new TV package with Amazon and NBC, that starts next year. This is the final year of their current deal with TNT and ESPN and the like. But what you guys see here, which is interesting, and I think this is ultimately for the Black Friday play, the Knicks play that in-season tournament game on Black Friday against Charlotte at 12 p.m. on a Friday. And the reason I think that is, I don't recall the Black Friday games last year being on that early. I could be wrong. But what I think they're gearing up for is because Amazon is going to be broadcasting at least one Black Friday game every year. They want those games on during prime time shopping time so that you can be watching the game, then you go cop your groceries, your whatevers on Amazon as well. All right, so this is a commerce. This is a commerce game, this Black Friday game. Hey, you can't even let these players enjoy their Thanksgiving. They can't even get their turkey on because they got to be ready for the game at 12 o'clock the next day. Food ain't even digest. You know what I mean? Can't even eat right. Can't get your turkey on, your mac and cheese, all of that. Hold the cranberry sauce. We're not doing that. So, yeah, that Black Friday game, that's the marketing game. That's for you to buy at 12 o'clock while you're watching Brunson and the squad run laps around LaMelo, Brandon Miller, and the Charlotte Hornets. I think we're going to try to go out for that game. So for my people in the QC, I think we're going to try to get there. People said Shaq hating on the Knicks. Yeah, we're going to get to that on Worst Take tomorrow. JD will be here tomorrow, and we're going to get to it on Worst Take. To the phones we go, to the Discord. Femi, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Can you hear me, CP?
Loud and clear. How you feeling, man? Long time.
I'm feeling good. Shout out to the number one show for the fans, by the fans. Shout out to the sponsors, SeatGeek, get your tickets.
Absolutely.
Hit that like button.
Absolutely, man. Protocol.
Yep. Yeah, so CP has been a great season, great on season. Love the show, love KFTV. And I had the same 6-4 record through the first 10 games, just as you. I think that first game against Boston is a great opportunity for a watch party. In New York City, I'm looking forward to that KFTV watch party.
Oh, yes.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. And I'm going to keep it quick, rapid fire. My one main question for you is, I saw that report from Ian Begley. What are you thinking how Mitch's health is going to impact the beginning of the season, those beginning 10 games and maybe 15 games? Will we see Precious as a starting center, Julius at the 5? Like, if Mitch isn't ready by game 1, how do you see the first couple games playing out? And thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, appreciate the call, man. Definitely appreciate it. And what Femi was alluding to was shout out to our guy Ian Begley, friend of the program. And Ian had mentioned that not necessarily a slam dunk that Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle will be ready by open night. Julius Randle, he said he's progressing well. But Mitch, not necessarily a slam dunk that he's ready. It could be a little slow go there. So if that is the case, I think the Knicks would go with either Precious or even Sims at the backup spot until Mitch is ready. But as I was saying, I'm very intrigued at the possibility of a Randle OG 4-5 small ball lineup where you have OG guarding the fives, not Randle guarding the fives, OG guarding the fives, and have Randle out there. So that could be very interesting. Could be very interesting. Let me have it. He's got it here typed up on the SNY website. Shout out to our guy Ian Begley. Let me pull it up and we'll read along together. Let me close this out. Shout out to SNY. I'll be on with my guy Dexter Henry on Saturday. All right, let me just get this. Boom. All right, let me move this over so you guys can see it. So it's everybody in the chat. CP the franchise here. Okay. All right, here we go. So he says in regards to Julius Randle, it says reported last month that Randle's rehab from shoulder surgery is going very well. It would be surprising if Randle were ready for this based on the timelines for recovery. It would be surprising if Randle was ready for the start of training camp. But if everything progresses well, he would be back on the court for the season opener against Boston. In regards to Mitch, Ian says he's rehabbing this offseason the left ankle that he had surgery on. As of this week, he's not been cleared for high-intensity weight-bearing activities during his rehab. So Robinson has to clear several hurdles before he gets clearance to fully participate in training camp. So there it is. So I think depending on the matchup, right? Like if you prime example, Boston. I think they could go with Precious at the 5 there in Boston. If you're talking about Boston not having Porzingis and you're going with Horford there at the 5, I think they can go with Precious at the 5 and they'll be fine. If you're going up against Philly, do they go with Sims and then you bring Precious off the bench? Kind of like last year when they didn't have Mitch. There were times when they were going with Sims as a starter, then Ihart as a starter. And they were kind of flip-flopping there. So I think that's a possibility. And there's my guy Starberry. He's reading the paper, the Knickerbocker. We need Knicks basketball back. Shout out to Starberry. But I pulled that up because, Sims has been getting active this offseason, man. He's been working out with Mike Bibby. He's been working with our guy David Zenon. He's working on his offense. The simulation has been in the gym. He's been in the gym, man. So let's see. He's very young, man. And Mitch commented. We put this up on IG, on our IG. And Mitch, he's a KnicksFanTV fan on Instagram. He says, my dog's been grinding. Seen it with my own eyes. So Mitch is attesting that Jericho Sims has been in the lab. So I think we could see a possibility of either one. And then in spurts during games, maybe you do go with a smaller lineup with Randle and OG. I don't think that's something that they'll go with on a regular basis. But I think you could see it, man. So shout out to Femi for sure for tapping in. And as Femi was saying, opening night, Knicks versus Boston. You already know the number one watch party for the fans by the fans is going to be kicking off for season 2. And last year we had Slate rocking. Premium lounge seating. You already know the vibes. Eric L. Beats on the 1s and 2s. Excellent food. Great seating. Great screens. So, we're already putting our ducks in a row. We're putting them wheels in motion for the watch parties and everything. A lot of planning has to starting now. So, That's just what it is. We're very fun either way. But yeah, we are going to get right to it in terms of getting all the watch parties going. I'm sure we will have a ticketed event for the Knicks home opener. We'll have a watch party for the Knicks home opener. We're going to be planning our road trips as well. I just spoke to Alex. We setting up the Knicks Fan TV meetup in Boston for those of you that are going to be out there for the season opener. So lots going on the Knicks Fan TV front, and shout out to everybody out there who's been rocking with us, who has been attending those experiences. And if you haven't, hey, there's always this year, man. Going to be an action-packed season nonetheless. Shout out to our mods in the chat. What do we got going on there? JJ in the chat says Mitch won't be ready. No, he didn't say he won't be ready. He just said he's not cleared yet for high-intensity contact. Things can change. Things can certainly change. Abdul from San Diego says cranberry sauce is fire. I've seen varying debates on it. I guess, you got to make it properly to start off. You got to be making it properly in terms of your Thanksgiving meal. But, yeah, I'm skipping the cranberry sauce, man. I'm making my mac and cheese. We'll get to turkey. Sometimes we'll do a jerk turkey. Pause. But, yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, it tastes fantastic. We'll spice it up a little bit. And, yeah. I usually do on Thanksgiving, I'll do like a half Caribbean joint and half traditional. It's Thanksgiving. You make your own rules. You don't have to have all the Hallmark stuff that they tell you have to have. You make your own stuff, man. It's about spending time with your family, Remember to support our sponsors at SeatGeek, man. KFTV is the promo code, $20 off your tickets. Great deal, man. Use our code at SeatGeek. You can either go to SeatGeek.com or use the app. And remember, look for the dots. The green dots mean they're good deals. Bad dots, stay away from those. Simple and plain. Number 1 rated ticketing app out there. Shout out to our friends at SeatGeek for sure. Okay. All right. What else we got here going on? Shambi cases when we come into Orlando. Let's look at this thing again. Okay. Let's look at all the Orlando games. They're at Orlando. Friday, 12/27. That's tough. That's a tough one. Talking about Christmas, New Year's. That's a busy time. That's a Friday, though. So they are... Is that the only at Orlando? Oh, they're only at Orlando once this year? Hang on. That's unbelievable. Is that right? Wow, so the only game at Orlando... The only game at Orlando is the 27th, Friday, December 27th. Interesting. Okay. We may asterisk that one. We'll see about that one. I do like that Charlotte one, Black Friday, for a meetup. And West Coast gang. I like that one. I like the West Coast. I do like the West Coast one. So let's see. See how it all plays out here, man. But yeah, we'll definitely be planning our road meetups and looking forward to those as well. Mike says, "What's wrong with cranberry sauce?" All right, man. We'll get to the Thanksgiving stuff later on, man. We're in August, man. Let's enjoy the summer, the rest of it that is, before it all runs out, because it all goes fast. Summer's already running out. 2 weeks from now, we're in September. So let's enjoy the summer before we start talking about Thanksgiving, because that'll be here before you know it. Book from Queens. Book, go ahead and I'll mute your mic.
DP, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. How you doing, man?
Excellent. I'm fantastic, man. First things first, the schedule, you hit the nail on the head, man. And I want to highlight this. You said it's an any given Sunday league. I think that's more true in the beginning of the season when we look at this schedule than anything else, for us included, because Boston has 3 Olympians, right? And they all played heavy rotation minutes. Well, almost all of them. Played heavy rotation minutes, right? I don't think knowing that they are shooting for late season and they played the longest out of everybody. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be running their horses like that.
Tatum was an Olympian by title.
That's what I'm saying. Almost everybody.
He just traveled. He just got the mileage. He'll be ready.
But and then also Porzingis with the injury. So I don't know if Boston is coming out guns blazing at the beginning of the season after winning the championship. I'm not going to go as far as to say load management, But you know the great tweet from last year where you go to the Garden and they hit you with metal bats. We got road dogs, and as they say about dogs, you know how to say you need to be more scared of them.
Yeah,
it's that kind of thing where they see the Knicks coming to town and they're like, oh God, we just want to get our rings, man. We ain't trying to deal with OG and all this nonsense in the beginning. You know what I mean? So I'm not as worried about the Boston game. I think the Indiana game maybe more so because they're coming off the young guys. Yeah. All of these teams with young guys, I think we have to recalibrate our expectations. Is Evan Mobley going to have a big offseason? Yeah. Are Cade and Jalen Duren going to make those teams more competitive?
Yeah.
So those teams, I think it's a little more. But I think overall, when you look at from October 22nd to November 23rd, we should overall have a very strong month, but I think the same thing that went for Boston, our goals are in April, May, June. So we not trying to get Mitch and Julius out there before they're ready. And I don't think they're going to have much of a training camp. They'll still be recovering for that entire time. We probably won't see real Mitch and Julius until we start getting closer to November. If not Thanksgiving, I wouldn't be surprised if they have really slow starts. But we have such a deep perimeter lineup. I think we're good. I want to say one more thing before I go.
Sure.
I'm still washing tomato soup out of my clothes for my OG Garden Fives take, CP. And from my boy CP, I'm hearing about OG Garden Fives in the small ball.
Possibility. Not long, not full time. Possibility.
No.
Possibility.
I never wanted it full time.
Gotcha.
Because we got Mitch for the big guys, right? My thing was this. He can shift into a Draymond role when the matchup favors it.
Sure.
So if you try some clown stuff with like Pascal Siakam at the 5, we got you.
Yeah.
My thing was with OG at the 5, I think Julius keeps his mismatches by staying at the 4. I don't think Julius is as good switching over to the 5. I think the mismatches he has with his quickness and size all go away when he's a 5, whereas with OG, they got to chase him out to the perimeter. He's still a nuisance on defense, especially during the regular season and times where they throw that at you. I think it's the kind of thing where people ain't trying to deal with that. But I really look at it as more of a niche playoff option that we have to work on during the regular season so that we have the most dynamic lineup possible and can utilize our depth.
Okay. Fair points, man. Fair points, man. Appreciate the call, Book.
ICP.
Saw a guy, Book from Queens, tapping in. Let me see if I can get the phones. The phones have also been acting up on us, man. Let me see if I can get the phones working again. See what's going on here. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, CP the franchise here. See what's going on here. See if the phones work here. Salute. We are reacting to
Blog Talk Radio.
the Knicks schedule release, man. Some of the key dates. I'm going to run through it one more time before we wrap. And get to it, man. Shout out to LaShawn Paul in the chat. Shout out to my cousin Lash.
Start your show now.
All of our mods.
We are sorry.
Oh, yeah. So, all right. So, the phones are down. Discord is the only one available for right now. But we definitely salute to our callers. Larry Medina in the chat. Larry, appreciate it, man. Definitely appreciate that. All right, so just one more time, just to run through this. You have at Boston on the 22nd, October 22nd, the home opener against Indiana. Knicks' first 7 out of 10 is going to be on the road. So buckle up. First West Coast trip at Phoenix, at Utah, at Denver, at Dallas. And that is going to be November 20th straight through to the 27th. So they'll be on the road for Thanksgiving, and then they got Black Friday in Charlotte, another in-season tournament game, NBA Cup game. And then you do have a bit of a homestand, New Orleans, Orlando, Charlotte, Detroit. They should be able to recover there. That will be nice. Christmas Day, Wemby and the Spurs come to town. Right before that, on the 23rd, RJ and Quick come to town. Toronto Raptors come to town on the 23rd, December 23rd. Okay. What else we have here? The second, iHeart and OKC come to town on Friday, January 10th, rather. So iHeart will be coming to town. The second West Coast trip will be at Lakers, at Clippers, at Sacramento, at Portland, at Golden State. That's going to be the tough one. That's Thursday, March 6th through Saturday, March 15th. All right, there you go. And then the season wraps up on April 13th at Brooklyn. So, yeah, this is going to be a well-earned playoff run for the Knicks, man. They're going to have to earn it. The schedule is going to be pretty tough. But either way, man, let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts on all of it. CP the Franchise here. Happy to be back on, and we are just getting started, guys. We are just getting started. Number one show for the fans, by the fans. In the building. Tomorrow, JD's here. We will be going through Worst Take. You know, we collect some of the reactions about the Knicks throughout the offseason, and we're going to be doing that all season long. It's a great segment and great way to get our opinions out there and react to some of those that are out there about the team, whether or not we agree with it. But anyway, tap in tomorrow. We'll be here on the lunchtime hour for Worst Take. Shout out to everybody for joining us once again. Shout out to our franchise channel members and the new ones that joined today. Justin Upall, Nate Lopez, James Baglin. Appreciate it. Mr. Knicks 101. Definitely appreciate it. Remember that the show's available in audio podcast format. No reason to miss it. If you did miss today's show, just go ahead and hit the rewind button or tap in with the replay gang, which you can also catch us on audio podcast format and all major platforms. We are there. And make sure you guys are following us on all social media platforms as well, man. Twitter, X, Facebook, Instagram as well, TikTok. We are everywhere, man. So thanks again for tapping in. Thanks to Kevin O'Connor for tapping in with us. Shout out to KOC for being there. And yeah, man, remember that the show's presented by SeatGeek. Go to SeatGeek.com or use the SeatGeek app. Use our code KFTV for $20 off your ticket. CP the Franchise. I'm out of here, man. Peace.